Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the day of reckoning is here. I finally get to talk about regret when it comes to OnlyFans. And listen, you're going to regret it. Before we get into that, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend, hit that join button and join again. Listen, that Pamela Anderson documentary was very telling. And it tells a story that a lot of people have been saying. Those that do online sex work are going to regret it later on in life. It's not a light decision. A couple of years ago, the rise of OnlyFans was astronomical. And it makes sense. It made a lot of sense. With inflation going through the roof, and then also, people were out of work due to the pandemic and they were trying to find a way to make money. Also, it's truly a better option than a lot of different paths to make a quick buck. OnlyFans made a lot of sense for a lot of people. Now, with that being said, I do think a lot of people jumped into the game haphazardly and they do not understand what the lifelong implications are. Pamela Anderson recently had a documentary recounting her life and all the things that she went to, and it was very telling when she came across her time when a sex tape came out with her and her boyfriend. She retold the story about how her kids would have to go to school all the time and fight.
But a tape of your parents having sex is another level.
When I was a kid, I thought everyone knew things about me and my family that they never should have known. And everyone had this dirty little secret about my family. I just remember in school, if anyone ever brought up my mom, I was very quick to fight. I would just flush with anger.
See, her kids had to learn how to fight because, truth be told, kids are cruel people. Kids are not going to let up. Once they find out about your mom potentially doing sex work, then it is what it is. And it's very interesting because at the time, Pamela Anderson said she didn't think of it like that. She did not think of her child's well-being or the possibility of having children in the future. Not only as her sex tape dropped, but as she was doing her video vixenry, Playboy girling, Playboy magazining. When she was becoming a sex symbol, she did not realize that later in her life, these things would have implications. All she saw was dollar signs.
I wasn't thinking when I was in Playboy that I was going to have kids soon and they were going to grow up and it was going to be embarrassing for them. But I always thought I'll tell them age appropriate.
And the same story can be told for people like Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian, who went to such great lengths and was so distraught when her child was found to see the sex tape, or people were talking about the sex tape around her kids as they age.
Everybody look at this is on Roblox.
Who made that? Click on it. This is a character on Roblox, what it says.
What?
I know, that's why I said.
That's not my character, that's a game.
Oh, it's a game? Oh, well then we're suing them if it's a game with my name and picture.
There was a picture of my cry face, and then I looked at it and it said something super inappropriate, like Kim's new sex tape. This is supposed to be unreleased footage from my old sex tape. The last thing that I want as a mom is for my past to be brought up 20 years later.
I just want it gone.
Yeah, no duh, Kim. Your kids were gonna grow up. People were gonna talk about the sex tape in front of your kids. That's what you became famous for. It was a no-brainer. But she was so elated when she found out that Kanye West found those tapes that Ray J had, the additional tapes, and scrubbed those from anybody's hands to get.
He got me all of the sex tape back.
Oh my God.
And he flew home and got the computer. It was on the hard drive. And met up with Ray J at the airport and got it all back for me.
Oh, Kim.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
I know Kanye did this for me, but he also did this for my kids.
See, I can understand why people do these things that they do. I'm not saying that I can't. Sexual liberation is one. Now, I don't believe that that's a great reason. And also, capitalism is a killer. Using any resource that you do have to make money, like your body, is a great avenue to go down. Nobody really talks about it when athletes do it, right? But you see, I think one of the major differences is that in society, sex work is still deemed immoral. It is still deemed to be sinful. It is still deemed to be, a disgusting act. Now, I do think we've come a long way since, the years of yesteryear. However, people still frown upon this type of work. You see teachers and nurses getting fired left and right and up and down for being sex workers. And it's because they don't want these things around their kids. And speaking of kids, Amber Rose's son had an encounter at school where he had to speak up on behalf of his mother. Now, I don't know if he said all that young man, I don't know if he said all that, but it becomes quite clear that these are things that are going to affect their kids' psyche, but their mothers didn't think about these things when they were younger. They were just chasing a bag, as people say. There's another trope that I want to clear the air about. They talk about people doing OnlyFans because women's independence and it gives them all these things, but what's funny to me is that women's independence is always tied to sexual liberation in today's society, in the mainstream media at least. It's always tied to scamming men and playing men and getting, the better of them and running their pockets up to get a bag, because that's what women's independence is. Securing your bag no matter what, even if it means doing things like criminal activities or doing disgusting acts as deemed by society. Sierra got clapped for her song on the internet. People were clowning her.
This is for the girls getting money. This is for the girls that don't need no man. This is for the girls that's in love with themselves. This is for all the girls that done did it by themselves. This is for all the girls that's INDEPENDENT.
And it's funny because that's not a lifestyle that she lives. The ones that are actually living that lifestyle, who aren't just putting it in their lyrics, are getting clowned about it. Pamela Anderson, like we talked about. Kim Kardashian, like we talked about. I'm pretty sure Cardi B's kids are going to hear about the same things when they grow up. It's just going to happen. I'm pretty sure Black China's child is going to hear about the same thing. And I would say the same thing for any of you OF models out there or wannabe OF models out there. Your kids, your future is going to have to deal with the consequences of your actions today for a couple dollars. And there's a reason why I'm saying a couple dollars. Now, it's hard to come by any direct numbers. OnlyFans hasn't put out anything 100% concrete and solid, but there are sites that estimate that OnlyFans workers make $150 a month. $150 a month is an insane number to think that I'm putting my body out there for, to show the world, and this is my return. And something like this could possibly harm my future when it comes to things like job opportunities, my mental health, my kids' psyche, my relationship prospects, all those things being in jeopardy for $150 a month. And I know, just like any other thing on the internet, there are so many creators that glamorize it. I'm not saying people don't make a lot of money. I know that there are OF millionaires out there. Bad Baby is a perfect example. She was making a OnlyFans as she turned 18 because a lot of men disgustingly waited for her to turn 18, and she was able to come up on a lot of money based off of that. And it's funny because she even regrets that decision, although she made millions of dollars off of it. But on average life isn't like social media. So there's people like neighbors, like people that you run into in Target, people that you see as cashiers that secretly have OnlyFans accounts, aren't blossoming like any other social media network requires you to blossom to make a lot of money, and they still are putting their body out there. And not just the pay aspect that's very harmful to OnlyFans. Now, I do want to preface this by saying these men are sick, but these are some of the risks that you have to deal with. You're subjugated to more sick men out there. I don't know how else to put this. Not victim blaming, but this is a sad reality. Meet Hannah Palmer, 24-year-old OnlyFans actress who is making crazy amounts of money on the platform, but has had to deal with people who have stalked her. She talks about the time when she was recording on her balcony out in LA, and there was a stalker who would come and film her making her content and post it online. Completely sick stuff, perverted stuff. Then there's this other OnlyFans stalker who stayed in the woman's attic and only came out at night to film her, which is just top-notch insanity. And last but not least, there's this other OnlyFans stalker who spent 2 days in this woman's apartment writing things on her wall in lipstick, cryptic messages, only to end up finishing himself, and not in the sexual way, taking a knife and putting it to his neck and finishing the job when her father came and kicked down the door to the apartment. Absolutely insane and unhinged stuff from some of these people. These are the doors you open though. And I don't want to victim blame again because it is sick, but in all reality, I don't know another profession besides sex work that opens you up to this type of trauma and this type of abuse. Look, I'm not saying that the world isn't hard. I do believe that the world is hard, but I ultimately do think that living this type of lifestyle can lead to consequences that are unforeseen in the chase for a bag. Capitalism is bad. Getting hard skills, working a regular 9-to-5, securing some sort of income comes with a peace of mind that sex work doesn't. OnlyFans has created this culture where sex work is just a-okay and it's made light of, but trust me, those women out there that do actual sex work, I'm talking about those that are pole dancers, strippers, and those that are walking the blade, they do not want to be doing that. Trust me. But hey, I could be wrong.